I would love to start with a discussion on the importance of ovulation. So often in my practice, I'm educating clients about the importance of ovulation, and just because you're bleeding doesn't mean that you're ovulating. So I'd love to hear you speak a little more about this.
Yes, of course. I love this question and topic. And I always like to remind folks that ovulation is the only reason you are here. And the only reason that couch you're sitting on is here and on for anything that is human made. And in my opinion, ovulation is incredibly magical, but also it's a very humbling thing to set our focus on. And uh, like you said, whether or not you want to use it for its function, or if you're not even participating in sex that can lead to a pregnancy, I do really believe that there's a lot of knowledge, not even believe, I know that there's a lot of knowledge that we can gain from knowing if we are experiencing consistent, regular ovulation. And
Mhm.
there's a reason why ovulation is called the fifth vital sign. And that's because it is a tremendous sign of health that shows that the systems in our bodies are functioning and communicating in a way that is stable and harmonious. And it can also clue us in and as to like what else might be happening in the body and other body systems. And all of these body systems are intertwined and connected. And if there's something off with our hormonal cascade, and we aren't ovulating, then we can start to do more reflection and see where else in our body that this imbalance might be happening or linked to another system, which is super important to be aware of. Again, not just for using your ovulation, but and also considering like our long term health.
Absolutely.
You
I
know,
think, that there's that recent study I cite all the time is that the menstrual cycle as a vital sign has been connected to over 300 different health conditions. So it really is, it's a lot more than reproduction. And that's
exactly.
why we're getting into this at your guest lecture, but we'll talk more about that soon. So let's talk about herbal support for consistent ovulation. I actually have not heard a lot about this, and I was delighted that you have a whole chapter and you have a whole specialty of this in your book. But I'd love to hear you talk about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh gosh, where I guess I'm like, where do I begin with this? I could say so
I
much.
know that the high level, the
The
50-foot.
high level. So herbs can help in so many different ways. And, a lot of them, the nourishing herbs especially, provide deep nourishment to our bodies and to like the whole menstrual cycle. So, like after bleeding, there's like the nourishing herbs that can help provide nutrients needed to support hormones and ovulation. They can help flush excess hormones, hormonal cell waste, and other types of cell waste, which is very important to support, yet again, the hormonal cell cascade. And there's some other herbs that also directly help with folliculogenesis, which is a fancy word for talking about the development of mature follicles, which is super amazing and beautiful because I love the idea of thinking about plants and flowers in my bioregion that exists, like their very makeup is supporting my fertility, everyone else's fertility. Like that's what they're made of. So I love
Beautiful. That's
that.
gorgeous.
Poetic.
I and I love this has just been on my mind so much recently. I love how you speak about this, about the your cycle is a fractal, how your cycle engages with your environment. I just think herbs are one of the clearest connection points that we have in that vein. So I love hearing you talk about it. So so in practice, let's talk about consistent ovulation. So, like for instance, if I work with a lot of people who have PCOS, so are there specific herbs that might be especially supportive of folks who have very long cycles and maybe
Right.
60-day cycles and a 60-day long follicular phase. So let's talk about how herbs might support them.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different herbs that come to mind when it comes to PCOS. And of course, it's really hard to just choose one general herb for one condition because everybody's body and health history are so different. But one herb that I find is commonly effective for most people who experience PCOS is cinnamon. And cinnamon is really wonderful because it's delicious. So that makes it easy to use for a lot of people, but it's also easily accessible. And medicinally, it's a blood sugar balancing plant, which is something that is a primary concern for a majority of folks who experience PCOS. And it's also an antioxidant, which means it's going to help with overall inflammation levels. And this plant is easy to use. You can use it as a tea, but I also like to remind folks that it is also effective when sprinkled over food that may have a sweet element, because this is going to help assist in curbing some of the glucose spiking that can occur when eating sweet foods. And, sweet foods meaning even fruit. So I like to sprinkle cinnamon on top of some fruit before I'm eating it if I don't have like a protein before, just to do.
So nice. I do it on pears. I have that on doing
Um,
cinnamon pears. So nice.
yeah, it's an easy way
That's
to incorporate.
beautiful. So, I mean, we've been collaborating and talking for a while, but I'm really excited to have you as a guest in my natural birth control and hormone health cohort that's starting February 17th.
Yeah.
And you'll have a whole lecture to really get into this topic about what is
Mhm.
actually going on. So give us just a quick summary of sort of the key points that you'll be hitting in that talk and what we
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. And I am so excited to have the opportunity to teach for this cohort. So I'm going to do my standard spiel at the beginning of any herbalism class that I teach, which means that I do a high level overview of energetics and safety concerns. And I'm definitely going to lightly touch on utilizing herbs as allies and not band aids. And also
Yes.
touch on some effective ways to use these herbs, because that's super important. If you have an herb and you're not using it in a way that's really effective for your body, then it's just not going to do what you want it to do, which is a big reason as to why some people just don't think herbs work. It's because they're not using them in a very effective way. So that's very important. And then I'm going to do an overview of some of my favorite herbs for supporting ovulation, which include marshmallow root, calendula, fennel seed, and shatavari, and also dandelion root.
Oh,
So,
so nice.
yeah.
Oh my goodness. Uh, Beautiful. Yeah, I'm so happy to host you. I also think that there's going to be a special little if for folks who do join the cohort, they'll also get the full text of your incredible book. In which do you want to speak about your book? Because every time we talk about this, I'm like, oh, it's so hard to just speak about one herb or just even that's why you wrote a whole book about it. So do you want to
Totally. Yeah.
your book?
Yeah. It's because, yeah, it's so complex. I mean, herbs are like having like a human relationship. You form relationships with them, and what might work for one person who you think has the same symptoms or health issues as you might actually not work for you because you have
Yeah.
different body energetics. It's so interesting. So that's something I go into much more deeply in my book, Womb Witch, which is like a very light overview of a lot of different subjects when it comes to womb health from puberty to menopause. It was my like Bible for people with wombs that wanted to just get, an understanding of their body and understand it in both scientific and magical ways and spiritual ways.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You're really building that bridge, and I hope that this is that vibe, that tone is deepened in terms of this cohort. I
Same.
This will be 6 weeks of kind of everything that I wish I could equip everyone cycling, in their cycling years to have. So
Yeah.
we're going to cover how to track your menstrual ovulatory cycle, so how to even know if you're ovulating in the first place, and the spoiler alert, your apps can't predict ovulation. LH strips aren't going to help you.
Right.
Really, you've got to learn how to track and learn the rules. So you'll learn the practice, and then we'll also have a guest lecture from you, and we'll have another guest lecture from Naomi Murray, who's an incredible registered nutritionist who specializes in supporting people coming off of hormonal birth control and all kinds of hormonal cascade issues possibly.
Right.
And so that's one of my to this cohort is you're not just learning the practice, you're also learning we have experts like you coming in and speaking at length about it. So thank you so much. Like I wait to see you again later this month. This is just an excuse to keep chatting with you.
I love it. I'm here for it. I love learning from you. So I'm really excited to be a part of this and also excited for everyone who's going to get to be able to learn all of these amazing things that are so instrumental to all of our lives. Really, that's why we're here, right?
Yes,
So,
agreed, agreed. It's like the sex ed that I wish everyone had, including me. So,
exactly.
thank you so much, Angelica. This was amazing, and more to come.
Yes, thank you so much. Cheers.